In efforts to successfully do this daily video scheme you've seen on this channel for multiple weeks now, I have employed liberal usage of unreleased old footage from like 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. It's all over the place. It is all over the place. Because I have a lot of footage I've just never used lying around, I figured I would take all of it and cobble it together into one big video with a big overarching point and crazy editing at some point, which is a thing I've done before, but I ended up realizing there is so much of it that I could make like multiple videos like that if I really wanted to. And ultimately, I think the ideas present in those videos, or your ability to perceive me at a particular time, like to see the contrast, is going to be more pronounced. Those things are going to be more pronounced, more easily accessible if I simply make them into shorter individual videos. So that's what I've done. But looking through all of these videos has sort of forced me to reckon with the fact that I am in a completely and utterly barren, personality-less room. And a lot of those older videos taken in 2019, 2020, directly focused on how alienated I felt by my environment in that room, because I felt as though if I was going to be in that room all the time and attempt to make it a home of sorts, because I wanted to leave it as little as possible, I have been leaving that room as little as possible for years now. I wanted it to be like built for me. So I surrounded myself with memorabilia and especially posters related to my interests, and I specifically put them up in a way that felt like tailor-made for the wall, that was thematic with the corner that it was in and all the particular stuff that it would be with. That was all on purpose, and I spent a not insignificant sum of money on those posters. Of course, this was not all overnight. Like, this was money that I made and saved over multiple years, but as time went on, the room became more and more personalized, and I ended up becoming a lot more comfortable with being in there. The sad tragedy is that room has been commandeered from me. I left home for literally 2 weeks, and without my consent, without my permission, without even notifying me, all of my stuff was lifted out of my room, much of which ended up getting fucking broken. The password to my computer was lost and has never been recovered. I think it's just gone forever. And so I will never be able to get back into my old main computer, which has a bunch of my passwords and files on it. That's made life more difficult for me. Like valuable items of mine that I either spent money on or had since I was a kid have just been smashed or destroyed. The fucking remote to my RetroTink 5X Pro is gone. The remote, which makes it usable. Like, there are buttons on the RetroTink, but the remote is like primarily how it's functional. The remote's just fucking gone. I did not spend like $450 on that thing just for the remote to be lost. Like, it's ludicrous what they did to my room. And then they took so many of my posters down, posters that individually I might have spent $30 on, which is a lot for a fucking poster. Yeah, then you look at the fact that posters that I have literally had for years have gotten tattered and torn. by no fault of my own, just on the whims of the people who commandeered that room, and it forced me out. It forced me into this other room that I can only use like part of the time. I'm surrounded by these fucking evil puppies that I want nothing more than to get rid of. I am desperate to get rid of these fucking things because they wake me up at inconvenient times. They're constantly destroying things. I have to get them away from batteries and random miscellaneous items that I have no idea how they got. Sometimes items of mine that I have no idea how they got. It's just a nightmare. And all the while, I am forced to engage in my hobbies, the very few of them that I can engage in without all of my fucking stuff. I am forced to engage in thought, with entertainment and so on in this barren, desolate room that is not my own, that has not been customized or tailor-made for me, that I have not spent years of my life cultivating. I'm in this place that I have no relation to, that I feel actively alienated by. And in a sense, it's a dynamic exactly like the one that I had when I was making those videos about how I wanted my room to be personalized, to say something about me, about how I wanted to be surrounded by things that evoked happiness in me. When I strung up all of those Lewis Wayne paintings in that room, or the anime posters, some of which were pretty rare, the video game posters too, it was all stuff that evoked happiness in me. I put it there because it evoked happiness in me. And it made me happier to be in that room, which is where I was going to be all the time. And now I'm in fucking here. There's not anything in here that makes me happy. Nothing that reminds me of joy. It's like I spent all that time on that fucking room, and my property gets violently seized from me, broken in the process, and I can't use that room for my own purposes, my own space. And the thing is, this is a pattern. It's like every time I have ever gone anywhere for an extended period of time, this is what they've done. They've came in my room, started using it for storage for their shit, and in the process have smashed things of mine by literally just putting this heavy shit on top of my shit, moved things of mine around that I knew where they were, and then I'd come back, not know where anything is, putting things like just where they would be unsafe to be, and then forgetting about them, coming and sleeping in my room, like making these massive messes in my room. It's like my stuff and my space was never respected whatsoever. Whenever I would leave the house, even for a couple days, I would be gone for 3 days and they would start doing stuff to my room. And then it feels like after all the pushback that I did, all the times I would come back screaming because of the in comparison to this, minor alterations made to my room, like freaking the fuck out because I cannot have my stuff moved. Like, I get my space the way that I want it to be. It's my space. It's where I always am. I cannot have that stuff moved or changed in any way. And then what do? It's like they do the next logical extension of a horribly dehumanizing process that they had already been engaging in. They take everything out and they put it in this room where all kinds of animals can get in. Like it's not secured, any of my stuff, where the room is so overflowed that my stuff gets smashed, and then they take the room for themselves. And it's like my dad is watching that TV all the time. My fucking 16:9 HD Trinitron, he's watching that TV all the time that I did not buy to be ran into the ground. I bought that TV for very specific purposes, to be ran some of the time to watch HD remasters of old school movies that have practical effects, and to play upscaled old games that have sprites, like sprite-based games, and some of the stuff from the original Xbox and PS2, but mainly like upscaling the sprite-based 2D games, like trying to get the absolute best picture I can out of those old consoles on the tube TV that's also HD. That's what it's for. It's for a really specific niche purpose, and it's just being ran into the fucking ground by being ran all the time when I didn't give permission to anyone to use that or to bother any of my fucking stuff. Like, this is just abhorrent what's being done to me. And the chickens are gonna come to roost on this. Like, they want me here so they can leech my disability from me. Just take my disability. Holding this place to live over me. And I can just leave. I can hold my disability over them. And I can just fucking leave. And that's what happens when you start disrespecting people's property, their personhood, their space. I've been kicked out of that room for like 4 fucking months now. I haven't had my room. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. And I shouldn't tolerate this. I shouldn't have to tolerate this. I'm not staying here. I'm fucking leaving. If I can't have my room and my stuff safely placed in my room, then I have no reason to be here, and I can go wherever I want, but when I'm gone, they're gonna know exactly how much they needed me here so they could leech off my fucking check. Well, how about you get a